All right, today is March 20th, 2016, so it's a good excuse to give you 20 key tips for stock market trading and life success. Yesterday, you may have noticed how I gave away $20,000 in 20 minutes. This video is on YouTube. I encourage you to watch it. Nearly 4,000 of you have already, but I think it's a really good video. So I'm curious to hear what you think. I'm trying to be transparent with my trading, transparent with my charity giving. I don't know how to not share this. I want to show you how good it feels, basically, to be in this position. It's my honor, it's my pleasure. And the same thing with all my trading. So I share everything. But leave a comment below that video. Let me know what you think. And click like or dislike. I'm curious to see what you think. I don't know how people can dislike giving away money. I understand some people think like I'm bragging or showboating, but I'm not, okay? I'm trying to inspire you guys. I'm trying to show you a life that you can have when you study hard. So lesson number one for today, be patient. Don't expect great success right away. I know that, pretty much all of my top millionaire students and I turned a few thousand into a few million in a few years. That's not always going to happen. And for the vast majority of people, it takes much longer. That doesn't mean that it's not worth trying for. That doesn't mean that it's not going to happen to you, but it's better to have more patience. A lot of you, want to make money like tomorrow or next week. First, you have to study. And that leads me to number two. Studying and preparation takes time. It's very front-end loaded. Once you have the knowledge and the mindset and the discipline, that's great. You'll never go back, you'll never go hungry again, but you need to get there first. You can't just have consistent gains. You can't just say, oh, some people say, just give me some hot tips right now. Let me make a little money, see that you're real, and then I'll study. No, that's not how it works. If you don't think I'm real, then don't study, okay? I'm not forcing you, but you can't try and change the system. I can't give you money right away with stocks. I can give money through my charity, and, if you happen to be some random deserving person in Los Angeles that day that I filmed that, then maybe I could give you money. But the vast majority of time, I'm teaching. So also remember this. Whether you make 500 or 10,000 in your first month, neither will change your life in the long run. So focus on long-term goals. And a lot of you guys have this question and issue because you're studying, but you want to be encouraged. Like, is it worth my time? So you see people like this. So many testimonials lately. It's kind of crazy. I'm trying to contact them all or bring them all up. Here we go. Airplane Jane, thank you for helping me realize the dream of making 10,000 this week. And that's a fantastic job, Jane. Also, Tara made 10,000 in her first month as a trading challenge student. That's awesome too. But then you also have guys like this, Hebrew Hammer, and he started with $400 January 1st. 10 weeks later, he's at $2,500. So not as much, monetary gain, but very nice percentage gain, especially in a tough market. So again, 10,000 in a month, 10,000 in a week, 2,100 in 10 weeks. It's all starting. It's all about learning the process and getting on the right track. And I know that's tough to understand, but hopefully I can show you enough examples where, you realize this. It's all about learning how to grow your account. Some people ask, why do I focus on, $1 million and millions and big? And some people are like, oh, that's so brash. It's too hypey. Well, I focus on that because as I've learned from Dr. Latham and Dr. Locke, if you look at performance theory and goal setting theory, focusing on a big goal helps your improvement on your performance day by day, 15 to 25%. So focus on the $1 million, even if you have $1,000. I know it's weird, but I'm telling you, a lot of the tactics that I've learned that really work, you don't really think of. But if you look at academic studies, if you look at just my own experience as a teacher, you see what works. Number 5, cut down your education time by learning from proven mentors. This is so important. I've learned everything the hard way over 16 years. And my whole goal with creating Profitly was to bring together, millionaire traders and successful traders with the right mindset of helping others. And that way, you can learn everything that I've learned much quicker. Hopefully, if you watch my video lessons and DVDs and stuff like that, you can learn everything within a few months or a few years at the worst. And that is all much better than it took me, over a decade to get it. Also, use tools like stocks to trade. A lot of you guys have questions on stocks to trade. We just launched it. So the pre-launch specials have ended. So actually it's not even open right now. So you can't start it even if you wanted. So hopefully you got in on that, and I wouldn't cancel because those pricing specials are never coming around again. But when we do reopen it, and I suggest you enter your name and email if you want in on the next round, use this tool. It's not for trading yet. It's just for scanning and charts and level 2. But this is a tool that can help you basically scan for the best patterns. You know, there's over 40 different scans that I use every single day. If you look at Tim Grittani, my top student, who's taken 1,500 now into 2.7 million in like 4.5 years, the reason why he's so successful is he keeps spreadsheets on every single pattern and seeing how well they do. So it's all about tracking different patterns, not just one pattern. And also use my chat room with 1,000+ traders in it daily for idea generation. You know, there's no other better place. There's no bigger chat room for low price stocks. I don't think there's any bigger chat room in the world. And not necessarily believe anybody else's tips or alerts, because, you know, a lot of people, and this is true in every chat room, you know, they say, oh, look at this news, look at this. And they're already long because they want you to like buy in. And that's nasty. That's the sad world of chat rooms. But don't believe anyone else's tips. Don't believe anyone else's alerts. Don't piggyback them. If I see someone alerting, I actually kind of want to go against them right away, because why are they alerting it? Why are they talking about it? So for me, when someone brings up a hot stock, I'm never thinking, okay, I want to do exactly what this person is doing, because if this person is doing it, then I'm going to be second. I'm going to be behind them. I don't want that to happen. So for me, I'm always questioning people's alerts and tips, but if I research it and I say, oh, this is a good stock or this is a good pattern, thank you for the heads up, that's okay. Always go into a trade with a plan, whether you're betting on a stock or betting against it, going long or going short. Have a plan. Say, okay, I want to buy this stock. I want to make 50 cents a share. If I'm wrong, I want to maybe lose 10 or 15 cents a share. And then stick to the plan. You have to cut losses quickly when a stock goes against your plan. I know it's tough. Trust me. The other day, I was doing a market mastery in-person teaching with a few students, and I had a loss and it was just growing, and I didn't stick to my plan. And I only lost like $400, but it should have been a $200 loss. And I don't care about the loss, the money situation. I'm trading with a small account this year, but at the same time, I was pissed at myself for really just letting it go against me. That was very, very bad. And, I'm glad that some of you students, G. Copina, Gabor, one of my trading challenge students, he was like, yeah, I recognize you, breaking your own rules. And I'm not perfect. No trader is. But at least when you have the rules and you know the rules, you can try and get better. Also, never believe anybody in finance until they prove their worth, document success over years and decades, not just weeks or months. A lot of people go on Twitter and they post one screenshot or two screenshots and of a trade that works, and they're like, look at my fills, look at my executions, look at this trade. Well, show me all of your fucking trades over 10, 20 years. I know you've been trading for that long. A lot of people don't believe in full transparency, and I think that's wrong. I don't think that's the future. Then again, money is not the end-all be-all, okay? I don't care about money for money's sake. I care about money for what it can do for your life. Too many people have just jobs that they freaking hate, okay? And too many people have shitty lives due to a lack of money. And so they're working these jobs and they can't quit because they need to bring in, money to pay rent or bills or mortgages or school debts or, for food on the table. So I understand that you have to sometimes work shitty jobs, but always, even if you are working at a shitty job, always be studying even at night. Where did I have a tweet somewhere? Way too many tweets. Oh my God. Let me find this tweet because this is a good tweet. Milestone alert. Oh, here's Alex making 1,500 on the week, and he's going to enjoy Grand Cayman. I'll just go through all these tweets one by one. Here's Eric Russell. I love this. Being selective on my trades has already gotten me to over half my down payment for my new house. He's up over $4,000. And he's also been studying. He says, I'm proof that with dedication to study and learning, you can be profitable. Most of my trading is done via mobile. So he's trading mobile, but he's studied, which is awesome. Here's the tweet that I wanted. So use every night and every weekend to study and improve your skills because most people don't. And these are the times to really get ahead. And I truly, truly believe this. If you want something, if you want success, you're gonna have to put in more time. I believe in like the Kobe beef, I wanted to say, Kobe Bryant, work ethic where he's just working on free throws, he's working on shots like at crazy times of the night in the morning. And if you look at Vijay Singh, another professional golfer, and he's a great athlete. I mean, he's like the third winningest PGA Tour player of all time. He's won like 70 million. But more importantly than Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson, he's known for his crazy, crazy work ethic. So that would kind of be me if I showed you my work ethic in terms of what I do, not just for trading, but research and now teaching. I'm working 16, 18 hours a day. And I love it because I have a vision and I see, what it takes to actually create millionaire students. But for you, you don't have to do as much as I do. You just have to watch. For me, I have to make these video lessons. I have to plan them. I have to really do a lot. For you, you just have to sit there and click play. You have an easy job, but you still do have to click play. And if you are at school or at jobs in the daytime, I understand, but you have time off. We all have so much extra time that we really do not use, or you all, not me. You guys, you girls and guys, have way too much extra time that you don't utilize properly. Either you're watching the NCAA tournament, or you're hanging out with friends, or you're out at a nightclub, or playing video games. I know there's a million distractions, and I'm not saying have no life, but at least plan an hour a day and invest in a life that you could dream of. And if you do this every night and every weekend, you'll be amazed at how far you can really get very quickly. There's another tweet. I don't know. I'll keep going through my list. I'm not that organized. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get this out there today. Respect how fast pumps can collapse. XLIT this week. It wasn't BRKO before that. BPSR. Sorry. Pumps can collapse really quickly. XLIT was the example this week. I've been warning about it for months, ever since it was in this mess. January, I wrote an expose on it. I think it was like right in, I think it was probably like right in here, if you look on my blog. But in 3 days, it has now collapsed from $1.23 down to 23 cents. Let's do some quick math. $1 divided by 1.23. It's dropped 80% in 3 days. And meanwhile, you think that everything is nice and safe, and you got the promoters. If you remember this photo, I'm going to bring it up. Check this out. You call this a pump in your new video. Enjoy the dislikes. So this is the pump. This is the thing that I was exposing. And this is why I will always expose pumps, because I don't care how many dislikes come in. It's not real, just like these pumps. They're not real. So I have to expose them. And, I caught a little of the short side. Gabor, who I mentioned earlier, made like 20%, and a few other students made 20, 30, 40%. I don't think any of us captured all 80% because we've been trained to think that this stock would hold up a little better. But it's really cool to see when it just doesn't. So it just collapses. And CLOW was before it. You see the collapse there. PGSY was there, and this dropped 90%, and VPSR has now dropped 60%. So BRKO is the difference maker, where it actually was spiking here. And I know a lot of people who don't necessarily short sell like I do. A lot of people just short sell these pumps. They think it's easy. They're just like, oh, let me just bet against this pump or a scam. It's worthless. It's going to zero. And that's a very dangerous strategy and ideology, as you can see, because a lot of people were short, I know, 5, 10, 20,000 shares here in the threes, and it went all the way to 15. It's halted right now, so the chart is meaningless. It'll reopen probably back at 2 or 3. But I don't ever want to bet against a stock at 3 and let it go up to 14 or 15. I don't care if it'll eventually get halted. If you read my book, An American Hedge Fund, there was a trade like this. CAFE was the ticker, and I got crushed, even though it eventually got halted and went to 0. So I've kind of gotten a little safer. So you know, respect how fast they can collapse, but also remember that they can hold up and they can squeeze. A lot of people say, are the penny stocks ever going to die? And I say, as long as they're small companies that need cash like HTBX and corrupt insiders, any of the paid pumps, there will always be inefficiencies off which you can profit with penny stocks. HTBX, for those of you who don't remember, was a nice winner the other day, and then it just absolutely got crushed on Friday. So it went from like 70 cents up to 240. It was spiking here, and a lot of people were like, Tim, should I buy it? And I gave a chat room time-stamped response, and I said, this is not a potential long, this is a potential short, it is a pump. And then overnight in my watch list, I said, I think they're probably going to do a financing. And they did a financing the very next morning. And it dropped very quickly, all pre-market. It would have been very difficult to get out. So thank you, HTBX, for playing the game. And thanks to all these other penny stocks. There's always going to be small companies that do this kind of shit. That's why they're small companies. And it's your job to not necessarily be like, oh, this game is so bad. Recognize that the game exists and learn to profit off of it legally. I'm not saying become a promoter. You can profit off it by being a promoter. Don't do that. Also, be willing to go long or short. Take advantage of every solid opportunity you see. Recognize that the vast majority of stocks have no good odds either way. So staying all cash and not trading is often, let me capitalize this so you get my point, often the best trade of all. You do not need to trade every day. This is why no broker wants to work with me. This is why brokers hate me, but I don't care. This is the right way, okay? I'm not some guru who's associated with a hedge fund who makes money off commissions, okay? There are gurus out there like that. They don't make that much because, frankly, they're not that great at trading, but they make a shitload off telling their members, here, buy this, sell this, short this, trade this. And they're making commissions on every time because they're associated with hedge funds and brokers, and that's how they make their money. That is disgusting. For me, I say you do not need to trade every single day because that is the truth. I was going to say that's the truest truth. I'm being honest here, okay? I don't make any money when you don't trade. I don't make money when you do trade. I want you to be the best. I want you to be the most successful. I get paid because I have more millionaire students than anybody else. And I want more testimonials. That's how my business keeps growing. That's why I have the largest chat room and the largest newsletter. So understand that I'm in your corner. I want you to make money. If you lose money and you're like, Sykes sucks, and you just cancel, that's bad for me because then you don't study and then you have no chance of becoming a millionaire, or a very low odds, okay? It hurts your odds of becoming a millionaire if you don't study. I don't care if you subscribe or not. I care if you study. That's the thing, because I'm in control of your study guides every single day. I need to make this very clear. A lot of people say, Tim, don't curse so much, be nicer, you can have more students. I don't want more students. I want more dedicated students. If you're going to be offended by grammar or a hashtag or my swearing, you're probably going to be offended in the future sometime. So it's best you just leave right now, because I am focused on teaching you to be a fucking millionaire. That is all I care about. Not my grammar, not my punctuation, not sometimes I make these videos. I have no script, I'm just freestyling right here. I want you to understand what my purpose is. My purpose is to try to make you the best trader possible. So you do not need to trade every day. But I am encouraged by traders like this, Van Ryan, where he made $250 trading LNCO and ECR, and he was shorting them. So awesome job, Van Ryan. Also, G, he had his first short, I think ever, shorting at 169, out at 135. And that was a chat room play. I didn't even, frankly, Friday was just a crazy day for me. But this was a great short. Went all the way up and came all the way back down. So students are nailing it, and it's because they're in the chat room. Stefano, I like this also. I got to talk about this. Stefano says, best way to start the weekend while my daughter watches My Little Pony. And so he's studying. So the daughter's watching My Little Pony, and he's studying XLIT, and this is stocks to trade, in case you didn't know. So good job, Stefano. That's freaking awesome. But G, great short, short into morning spikes. This is a Tim Grittani, one of his favorite patterns. Ilya, also, he shorted CPXX at 944, covered at 840. Biggest gain yet. Literally pays to learn. I'm glad you recognize this, okay? This is not that bad of a trade. CPXX was up like 400, 500%. I actually screwed it up. I think I might have lost a few hundred overall on all my CPXX trading. And, I was watching it. It was so choppy. It was scary. Ilya has been studying, and guess what? He banked. And so it does, pay to study. Even if you did lose, though, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't study. But you increase your odds of success by studying. Russian Bear, this was probably one of the best trades that I've seen. He shorted HTBX at 189 and covered at 114, so he made 40%. Awesome job. And then Bob, I guess, would be my student of the day. He is a trading challenge student. He also made a video lesson, which I'll be highlighting this week. And he wrote a blog post, how he made $7,000 on Friday. So awesome, awesome job, Bob. Ike, awesome, just hit a very big milestone. He wrote a great blog post. I'll link it on the bottom of this. He just passed $100,000 in profits. So fantastic job, making $3,000 a day. Jorgen is learning every day. This is Stocks to Trade. Stocks to Trade, you can either have a dark theme or a white theme. I prefer the dark theme, but we open it up to you guys, whichever you like. And he was actually buying HTBX. And this point goes back, to, where is it? Oh, I guess I'm on the same point. Be willing to go long or short. Even though HTBX eventually collapsed, even though they did a financing, buying it intraday with a plan on momentum and in huge volume, this is not a bad trade. So I don't like those people where they say, oh, you should never buy a crappy company. If the crappy company is going up and breaking out, buy it, okay? If the crappy company is probably going to go down and probably going to do a financing, look at shorting it. You can go long and short. That is the beauty of trading. You don't have to be just stuck with one position. So Anthony, I love this. Here's another one. These are all tweets in the last 2 days, and I'm just trying to catch up. And he says, from 400 to 2,700 in a month, all while staying home with my kids. That is the beauty of trading. You can do this from anywhere. You can travel the world, or you can do it from home with your kids while you're watching My Little Pony. And here is Zach, made 300 on BRKO. This was from a few days ago, but I wanted to show you because he was buying BRKO on the breakout. It was on my watch list, and I said this might be a big short squeeze. So fantastic job. And, obviously I'm sure he sold and left a lot on the table, but he still made his 300. He locked it in, and now the stock is halted. So that's a good trade, Jack. Let me finish it off. Small gains add up over time. So I'll take Hebrew Hammer, for example. The same process you use to turn 400 into 2,500 can be used to turn 4,000 into 25,000, or 40,000 into 250,000, or maybe even 400,000 into 2.5 million. I'll include that. There are limits to my strategy, and there are limits to scalability. You're not going to take, 4 million and turn it into 2.5 billion. But the good news is you don't need 2.5 billion. I know a few billionaires, they are weird as shit. You don't want to be a billionaire. I know that sounds weird, but trust me on it. So understand how these gains can add up. You take bigger positions. Watch the Tim Grittani DVD in case you have any doubt whatsoever. In case you don't know, you can go to timgrittani.com. And it is not working right now. Oh, I spelled it wrong. I'm like, great, good job. Here's timgrittani.com. And he started with just a few $1,000s, and frankly, he understands the value of exponential growth. Here's a very important point. A lot of you guys, you feel like you're like lesser human beings because all these big traders make you feel like shit. Because I tell people, oh, post this trade, post that trade, and some people are posting gains or losses of like $10 or $20, and these big traders who are not transparent, and they're like, oh, $10 or $20 doesn't mean shit. Listen. Starting with a small account is not a bad thing, okay? It forces you to learn how to grow your account exponentially. None of my millionaire students started with 500,000 or $1 million, okay? That wouldn't be impressive. Most of my millionaire students start with just a few $1,000s. And that is great because it really puts you up against the wall, It forces you to try and grow this thing in a big, badass way. So having a small account, and this year I'm trading with a small account. I started January 1st with 12,000. I'm now nearly at 20,000. So again, nothing huge, $8,000 in 2.5 months, but you can see step by step that there is a process and there is an end goal. I'll keep growing it, but I love showing you how you can take 200, 300, 400 here or there. And even if your friends or family give you shit, I know a lot of people do that. Like, oh, you're making so little, you're putting in so much time into studying. Well, guess what? It takes time to study, okay? If you studied every day for 5 hours for a few months, you're going to be smart as shit. And that's going to be very useful for not just next year, but for the rest of your life. Education is for the rest of your life. A lot of you guys are 10, well, maybe not 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years old, okay? You have a lot of life left. Think about that. Life is long. And thanks to new stuff that's coming out with medicine and new developments and new technologies and biotech, we're going to live like 100, 150, maybe 200 years. So if you can commit 1% of your life to studying and then utilize that information for the other 99%, you're going to be in a very, very good spot. And I do not understand people who rip on education. I do not understand people who rip on charity. These are two things that there's just no way to be negative about it. I get it, if I post my Lamborghini or a big stack of cash, theoretically, that's bad. But what you don't realize is that it inspires my students to study harder. That is my end goal with everything. And if you look up books, and I read a lot of books, and I've read a lot on performance theory and goal setting, this stuff works. It's not a coincidence that I have more millionaire students than anybody, and I have a very, very different technique than all these other, quote, teachers, okay? Transparency, big goals, dedication. These are things that matter to me. And these are why my students, frankly, are more successful. And you're damn right I'm bragging about it, because this is my job, this is my life, this is my mission. And number 19, this is for you Trading Challenge students out there. Take advantage of all the archived webinars we have. Between Grittani, Crook, Michael Good, and I, we have a wealth of knowledge the world has never seen before. That's right. Okay, you might think, oh, Tim's being grandiose. No, the world has never had multiple self-made millionaires teaching every single technique. You have some academies out there where like a millionaire gives one interview and you learn from like 100 or 200 different millionaires and you learn like some very basic shit. But these millionaires, and Mark Crook just passed 500,000, so he's a 500,000-aire. But he's watched all my video lessons. He's actually giving a webinar tomorrow on options trading, how to actually short a lot of these stocks when there's no shares to short through put options. So you Trading Challenge students better tune into that. But also, between the four of us, I lost track of how many webinars there are. There's probably close to 1,000. And I know that sounds overwhelming, but if you learn and you take little bits from all of these millionaires, self-made millionaires, and I, so it's not just me, we're not just trading the same stocks. Oftentimes, I'll be long a stock and Grittani is short a stock, okay? We don't all trade the same way, but if you learn how each of us, is meticulous and how each of us has learned and earned our money and continues to earn our money, we're each continuing to make 6 or 7 figures a year. You really are going to go far. And number 20, the next few years will be very exciting to see how all these new educational tools help create knowledge and eventually wealth like never before in the history of mankind. Again, you might think I'm being grandiose. I can see that. I'm just a penny stock trader. But you don't see what I see, okay? I see the whole internet because everyone, frankly, comments and messages me. And I don't think anybody out there in the teaching world is as interactive with their students. I see a lot of people who talk a lot, but they're not necessarily interested in actually teaching. There's a lot of people who make sales. There's a lot of people who, again, are associated with hedge funds or brokers and they want you to trade because that's how they're making money. So they're coming up with rapid fire ideas every few minutes. Buy this, short this, buy this, short this. You don't see their track record publicly. For me, the education space is so exciting by sharing everything, every last thing, every last thought in my head, not just about what is a good stock or a bad stock, but the proper mindset, the techniques, the planning, the potential, and really trying to, put everything that's in my head into your head. If I could do that, you would see the great potential with education and the internet. Because even as I'm making this video, I have students in over 80 countries. And theoretically, if I can get you guys inspired enough to actually study all these video lessons and DVDs and webinars, you're going to learn so much that has never happened in history. This isn't me teaching in a classroom to 50 people and that information is lost forever. Everything I do, I try to, post it so that it can be archived and you can watch it and you can learn on your lunch break or at night or whenever. But a lot of this success comes down to mindset. I can teach you every single thing I've learned about the stock market, but if you have the wrong mindset, if you're like, oh, I'm not making enough money, this isn't worth it, or I need money right away and this isn't worth it. You need to have patience. You need to have dedication. You need to have perseverance. You need to follow the rules, but even if you don't follow the rules, because frankly, I've already built that in. A lot of my stocks, I exit way too early, and that's fine because I want to show you that it's fine to exit early. I want to show you that it's okay to make mistakes. I'm not teaching a best case scenario here. My 12,000 into 4.3 million is nowhere near best case scenario. If I was a great trader who always followed my rules, I'd probably be over 10 million. But it's not about me, it's about you. I don't care if I had over 10 million in trading profits or 4 million in profits. I've already found my mission in life, which is teaching. I'm still going to trade, but I'm trading with very, very small accounts this year. So you need to see the way that I see this. And what you have to do, again, is just push play and not just zone out while you're watching these video lessons. I know I go on rants. I'm going on a rant right now, but this is a Sunday and this rant is important. So don't just push play and then zone out. Push play and take notes on video lessons. Post your little notes on your laptop or on your computer next to you. You need to get this inside of your brain. You need to have the right mindset. It's not just about working hard and studying hard. There's so many generic bullshit wannabe mentors out there. Study hard and you'll live a great life. There is no one solution for everybody. We all learn differently. We all have different personalities and different characteristics. And what I want you to know is that it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay if you want to go long a stock. It's okay if you want to go short a stock. It's okay if you want to start with a few $1,000s. I can't help you if you have totally zero money. A lot of people are like, Tim, I have $10 to my name. I'm so inspired, but I want to start studying. Well, you can start studying, but you're not going to be in the stock game until you have $2,000. You need a minimum of $2,000 in order to short sell. The good news is saving up or getting $2,000 is not the hardest task in your life. Okay, I don't care what country you're in. You could do some manual labor. You can help out your neighbors. You can get a part-time job. I would not take out loans because frankly, trading is speculative. Remember that 90 to 95% of traders lose money. So this is not a game if you're like, oh, everyone's making money. It's so easy. No, this is a tough game, but it's worthwhile. As my first millionaire student, Michael Good, says, remember, what other job where you don't necessarily have to have great genetics for being an athlete or like a great voice to be on like American Idol? What other job other than being like a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, where you do not have to study as much as them? If you want to be a doctor, lawyer, or accountant, you're going to have to study 5-10 years. You're going to go into 5 or 6 figures of student debt to get your degree. And that's just going to get you bottom basement pricing as a new employee at some investment bank or some accounting firm or some hospital. Watch Grey's Anatomy. Look at those hours. They're shit. There is no other job in the world where you can be talentless, ugly, introverted, and freakishly freakish. I don't know. Listen to me. I'm not that smart. If you want it bad enough, if you have the right mentality, and if you follow these tips, not trading tips, not stock pick tips, trading technique tips, and trading mentality tips, and you study the patterns and you see what's a good long, you see what's a good short, and you test out your hypothesis. I should say, even if you are flat broke, maybe you're getting your inheritance in like 5 years. So you're just like, I got no money, I can't learn right now. Or if you're like 15 or 16 and you don't have parents' permission and they won't let you do this because penny stock sounds scammy, and you're like, I gotta wait 3 years, I won't study now. No, you should be studying right now. If you're watching this video lesson, you should be studying because you have the internet. I'm only putting this on the internet, okay? You have internet access. So even if you are flat broke, you can begin testing your hypotheses tomorrow, Monday, when the stock market is open. Write down on a little index card what you want to buy, what you want to short sell with 100 shares or 1,000 shares. Put down your price, put down your goal, put down your risk, Write it all down and see how it goes. And try and adapt your hypotheses based on how you do. If you're going to buy earnings winners, if you're going to short pump and dumps, a lot of the time everyone's like, "Oh, it's so easy. I could have shorted this pump and dump and made a lot." Well, with shorting pump and dumps, you have to find shares to short, and that's not so easy. That's a big issue. A lot of the time when I short, I'm not expecting a collapse right away. I'm just frankly grateful that there are shares to short. But I have video lessons on that where you have to risk a little pain in order to get the borrow. So anyways, this is more than 20 tips, but I wanted to get this all out. I wanted to show you example after example after example because frankly, a lot of people think, oh, you only have a few millionaire students. Everyone else is not successful. That's not true. Okay? It's not the casino where you have to make $1 million or you're broke. It's not, double up or nothing. There's a lot of various shades of success. You don't even have to make money to be successful. If I can teach you not to lose money, that's a success. If I can teach you to lose less than you would have if you didn't have this knowledge, that's a success. If you can be like, these students, Tim Gertani, that's awesome. But, Tara making $10,000 in her first month. But she came to Miami, I taught her in person, and guess what? It's not about the money that she made. She learned how to plan her trades. She had a big problem where she was right shorting, she had the right mentality, she knew the right patterns, but she did not properly plan her trades. And I'm not saying this in a big negative way, it's just a small adjustment, but what she learned in person, and I'm speaking for her, but we talked about this in person, so I'm pretty confident that this is what she's thinking. Every single time she does a trade now, she has to say, okay, what am I doing here? What is my thesis? What is my risk? What is my reward? If the stock does not go my way, what am I going to do? Am I just going to sit there like a deer in headlights? That's what a lot of traders do. A lot of traders do that. They're not planned for, the downside. They don't protect their blind side. And you always have to do that. So with Tara making $10,000 in her first month as a trading challenge student, am I proud? Hell yes, I'm proud. That's awesome. But she's gradually learned that she has to take much more accountability before she risks her hard-earned money on every trade. You have to know your specific average price. Okay? There was one trade where she was betting quite a bit of money and she didn't know her average price. And again, we all do this. We all make stupid mistakes like this. But it's about learning from those mistakes and getting better. I put her in the spot right when we were in Miami. And I was like, you better know your average price. You better figure this out. You can't just go into a trade and not know your average price and not have a plan for, if the stock goes against you. She was right shorting CPXX, but I've seen plays like CPXX that just keep spiking. And a new trader or even a intermediate trader would not be prepared. So go into every trade with a plan. Don't go into the month being like, okay, I have to make $10,000 in my first month. This is a good start, but don't get cocky, okay? 1 month is not going to last you the rest of your life. You're never going to make enough in 1 month or 1 week or 1 day to last you the rest of your life. But that said, if you are properly planned, what you make in a year theoretically could last you the rest of your life. Definitely 2 or 3 years. If you get on a hot streak and you catch these patterns long and short, you can make several million in a few years. But always, always, always remember that all it takes is one trade to wipe you out. And I've seen a lot of, quote, smart people, a lot of people with guts and balls and bravado who make fun of me being such a cowardly trader. They lose 20, 30, 40, 50, 70, 90, 100, 150% of their net worth. That's right. They go into debt with their brokers because they were unprepared. KBIO is the perfect example. My top student, or my first millionaire student, Michael Good, and I were actually shorting KBIO of the day of the big spike, the afternoon, the after hours of the big spike. And yet, because we were prepared, we both cut losses. We each lost several $1,000s. It wasn't fun, but we minimized losses. Other people who have the wrong mentality, who were not prepared, lost 5, 6, even 7 figures. That is the kind of money that can wipe you out, no matter how smart you are, no matter how hard you've worked. So always, always be prepared to cut losses quickly. Always be prepared to exit. Always have a plan, an exit plan before you get into the trade. And when you are in the trade, stick to it, because any one trade can wipe you out. That is the game in which we play. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But if you have that mentality and you know that one play can wipe you out and you're okay with it and you accept it and you cut it off, if a stock goes even a little bit in the wrong direction, it's not going to wipe you out if you're prepared and if you act decisively. That's why you see I have a lot of small gains and a lot of small losses. Sometimes I don't even wait for a loss when the stock isn't doing what I want. You know, if I'm buying an attempted breakout and it's just not breaking out and I have like a 5 cent a share gain, I take it. I don't want to take it. I want the stock to break out. But if it's not going to my plan, I get out. And I have $50 losses, $50 gains here or there. But you won't see me losing $100,000 anymore. Okay? I did that early in my career. I made those mistakes. Trust me. Go back and look at all my trades. They're all transparent. I had some big ass stupid fucking losses. I don't want that anymore. I don't want that for you. So I am a cowardly trader. Yes, I admit it. I overcompensate for when a stock is not going in my direction. I guarantee you that I miss out on a lot of opportunities, but I play it safe and I am very, very stress-free. Trading can be very, very scary, especially penny stocks, if you go in this with the wrong approach. The stock market should never be scary. And it can never be scary if you go in it with rules. I'll give you one last analogy because this video is now 40 plus minutes long, but I'm basically your driving instructor, okay? I give you this 20 tips here today. I'll give you more tips later, you know, but long story short, I give you rules that I learned the hard way over the last nearly 20 years. I'm no different than a driving instructor telling you to obey stop signs, slow down on yellow lights, stop on red lights, obey the speed limit. If there's a sign, I don't know, those signs with the arrows where there's a big curve coming up and you have to slow down because when there's a big curve, you know, it's tough to control, especially if it's raining or if it's icy outside. So for me, I'm giving you the road signs to the stock market. And sadly, most people don't know that there's road signs. And even if they know that there are road signs, they don't obey them. You know, driving can be very dangerous. I have a Lamborghini and a Ferrari. And if I just go 200 miles an hour in a 35 mile an hour residential zone, guess what? I'm probably going to fucking die. If you're shorting a stock like KBIO at 2 and you have no exit plan whatsoever and it goes up to, 10 or 20 the next day, your account is probably going to die. If you're going through, it's a yellow light and instead of slowing down, you try and make it and you speed up, it's not guaranteed that you're going to die. It's not guaranteed that you're going to be in an accident, but it's going to up the odds when you speed through a yellow light that, there just might be a truck coming the other way and it might just plow into you and that would be bad. Or you might get in a fender bender, no different than if you're in a stock and it's going the wrong direction, like BRKO shorts, for example, right? You think it's a scam. Okay, it's going to zero, but it keeps making new highs. That's a yellow light. It's not a red light. But when it's making new highs at 350, 360, 370, that's a yellow light. So my analogy there for slowing down would be to exit your position, exit half your position, play it safe. Play it safe when there's a yellow light. Don't speed up. Don't add to your position. Okay, the analogy works. If there's a stop sign, don't just ignore it and blow through it. Don't come to a rolling stop. Don't be like, oh, there's no one out. I don't have to stop. Because there might just be someone coming the other way. But if you all stick to the road signs, if you stick to these rules, it is very, very difficult. Even if you stick to the rules, okay, there still might be an accident. Because let's say you stop at a stop sign and someone else doesn't stop at a stop sign. And so the accident isn't your fault. No different than if you're long a stock and a negative report comes out. It's not your fault, but what are you going to do about it? Do you have an exit plan? Okay? Sometimes you can actually like, this analogy works, right? You can actually, just make a last second decision and avoid someone who's coming through a red light or a stop sign. And you can adapt because you're prepared. And it's no different in a stock. If you're in a stock and some negative news comes out intraday that you couldn't have predicted, shit happens. You got to adapt. You got to accept that happens. And sometimes you have to cut losses. or cut gains or change your plan based on the new news. But too many people just sit there, you know? You got to adapt. So congratulations to Tara and so many other students out there. But I teach trading, and trading is all about adapting and learning the rules and sticking to the rules. It's not you versus the stock market. It's really you versus you. So I'm also not just a teacher, I'm also kind of a therapist, but I'll save that analogy for another time. Happy weekend. I'll see you guys in the chat room tomorrow. Come ready, come early. We have 1,000+ traders in the chat room. And again, don't believe anybody, don't piggyback anyone's alerts, but use it for idea generation and create your own plans. Thank you.